get adventurous with angles here.
I'm back. Kenner said I would slow down the whole movement to increase power. I think I've got an experiment going, as in I can control one servo slowly, but I've not quite figured out how to, or I've not quite thought of how I'm going to figure out to control multiple servos at once. So I'll give you a little example and then I'll show you the experimental movement. So we're only going to do the knee servos now. This is how fast it normally goes. Right? This one, with every degree of movement in the servo, so it's a 180 degree servo, it's going from 0 to 75 degrees, so there's a delay of 25 milliseconds between each degree, so you'll see it's noticeably slower. If I just put them back to starting positions. So the idea is that when it stands up it goes up slow, or when it's walking, or when it does any complex movement that requires it to handle load, it'll do that. I just need to figure out how I'm going to do that for multiple servos, so I'll get back to you when I've cracked it. Get my way. Alright, so I'm sort of halfway there. I've got the slowdown, like I can control multiple servos now at the same time, slowly, which was the aim, which is good. Again, it's just going to be another example and experiment command. But as you'll see, when I just command the left leg, Alpha's left leg, to go to stand position, it's slightly more forward than the experimental one, but I double checked it where I made them sit and then drop to stand, and then they were both the same. So I think I might have to initiate the slow rise from sitting, which in hindsight I probably should have done in the first place because that's where it's going to be standing from. But yeah, I'll just show you what I've got. This is the speed it usually goes at. Also, that servo's a bit weird at the minute. So as you can see, quite fast. And experiment 2. See what I mean? How this is slightly more forward. You can't see it here. See what I mean? Not very good. If I go to standby, and if I try standing from here, does that make a difference? They're way closer. No, it must just be the code. I don't know why. I'll figure that out. Plus, it's not like I'll be moving one at a time. I'll be doing them both at the same time. So that's the next step. I'll do them both at the same time from the sitting position.
One eternity later.
Alright, so that took longer than expected. Anyway, we're back at it now. I did write an experiment 3 function which initiated a slow standing from sitting position, which didn't really work out, as you'll see now. Sit. Says them up to the sitting position. So now that may look okay, right, but just keep in mind, the robot body is here. So if this was it standing up, the feet are too forward, so it will stand up and inevitably push itself back. So that was quite annoying. But I think I may have a solution. There's too much play in the Y servos, so when you move it 1 degree, the entire leg won't move 1 degree, because it's not that precise yet. So I've basically, in experiment 4, just moved the knees, and it actually works pretty well. I might have to make some alterations to experiment 4, but I'll show you experiment 4 now. Now, as you'll notice, the body is now straight above the feet here. Now obviously these feet are just going to be worse than useless when it's standing on its own, but because I will be holding up the body for the time being, it should be okay. I just need to, the initial stand and walk will just be to see if the servos can take the strain of actually lifting its own weight, if you know what I mean. So that was the first 2 experiments. Because the Y servos aren't exactly in the full standing position, because the Y servos are actually still currently in the sit position. Standby goes like this, then it sits, and the way it stands right now slowly is slowly moving these up. Now, because these haven't moved, I don't think it will be as stable as it could be in the actual standing position, which is more like that. So what I may do is make another experimental code which slowly rises the knees and then quickly correct the Ys, because the Ys just don't seem to want to go slowly. Don't know why. Just one of the many issues that this has. But this is only the first version, and I will show you those alterations now. We just need to put these. Sit. Brilliante. 5. Okay. There we go. That and now you see. That's pretty good, I have to say. Now that worked brilliantly. Really pleased with that. There's 3 things I want to address. The first is Experiment 4 may and truly may. Experiment 4 may. I can't actually speak. Experiment 4. Wait. I'm just gonna delete this. Experiment 4 may well and truly be more stable than experiment number 5 in terms of where the feet are. So in experiment number 4, the feet are quite like under the center of the robot, and in experiment 5 they're slightly forward, and because the feet are circles, they're not going to have any trouble with balance in there because it's the same shape, and I'll be holding it so it won't fall over, hopefully. Right, second thing I want to mention is I won't know if any of this is actually going to be stable because of it's hanging from my ceiling at the minute. Until I change the feet design to a final design that'll have springs, it'll actually have a kind of mini suspension, so it'll have springs so it can has some shock absorption capabilities. But yeah, very pleased with that. Walking gate. That's probably what I'll get onto next, the walking gate. Don't know if that'll be in this video or in the next video, I don't know how long this one's going to be, so if it's not in this video, it'll be next week. That's all for this week, and I'll see you next week.